What is up, cinephiles? Welcome back to Screen Kings. So I've been gone for a few weeks, but now I'm back for another Netflix movie review. This one is an Indian action comedy crime film called Looop Lapeta, directed by Aakash Bhatia, and in it we have a former athlete named Savi, played by Taapsee Pannu, who must race against time to save her boyfriend Satya, played by Tahir Bhasin, as he ends up losing this huge sum of money that needs to be delivered to a mobster. So she needs to produce this amount of money if she wants to save the life of her lover. Now, this movie uses a popular sci-fi plot device, which is called the time loop. And there is a trigger to this time loop, which I'm not gonna share, but I think the trailer pretty much gives it away. And if you've seen the movies Groundhog Day and basically all the movies that it inspired, I think it's already pretty obvious what we're talking about, but I'm gonna let you guys discover what it is. So this is also a reimagination of a German film called Run Lola Run, which is released back in the late 90s. And back then, it was pretty much irreverent, experimental type of film. It gives this 80s video game vibes with its claustrophobic tension and all. And the tone for that movie is basically thriller, action. And this reimagination, putting it in an Indian setting, it leans more on the comedy. So this now becomes a dark comedy, and the runtime is significantly longer, with the original being 1.5 hours. This one clocks for more than 2 hours, 2 hours and 11 minutes. And yeah, the reason for its elongated version is basically director Aakash Bhatia here stuffs the narrative with a lot of supporting characters and subplots. They seem unnecessary at the time they're being introduced, but it all contributes to the butterfly effect. You know what butterfly effect is, when it comes to time loop movies. Basically, the decision of one character will have different outcomes per iteration or per scenario repeated depending on her decision. So hopefully there's a learning curve here to this character, because she can be flawed when it comes to her decision making, but she remains to be a sympathetic character throughout. So the story takes a while to set up, but I think the backstory is very much important, because you need to have a reason why you are supposed to root for this couple. And with that being out of the way, we can now focus on the momentum that this film has, though it kind of cuts the tension at times. Again, comes the pacing issues that might turn off the viewers, but then again, I am used to it because I've seen a lot of Bollywood films. And here's just an observation: most Bollywood films are a bit long for their own good. And yeah, I think this one is a bit longer than it should have, but it didn't matter in the long run, because this whole movie has a solid payoff, with the themes on the exercise of karma and compassion to the acquaintances that you're gonna meet along the way. For the case of Savi here, there's a bunch of colorful characters that seem to be irrelevant to her experience, but it all adds to the butterfly effect. I also dig that this movie adds a touch of Hindu mythology into it, because basically our main characters here, Satya and Savi, are named after Hindu princess and an exiled prince. So there's a whole backstory into that, which I won't share, but it basically parallels the experience that they're gonna have in this movie. So I think those important conversations are brilliantly integrated to the narrative, and I like that it serves as inspiration, because the time loop won't be explained, but this mythology having as a substitute is, I think, a better approach to the whole material and making it its own. The thing that I really love about this movie, and something that I already noticed upon watching the trailer that makes me want to watch this film, is the cinematography and the editing, because this movie has its kinetic energy all throughout. So we have a lot of quirky and weird camera angles, which actually helps in giving this tension and all the cinematic effect that it brings. Split screen editings, montages, slow-mo shots. So to some viewers, that might be too much for them, or initially it appealed to me as if the movie is trying too hard, the editors and the cinematographer maybe, but considering that our main character here is high for most of the film and the story takes place on her perspective, it does make sense why they're doing this type of execution. It's basically an acid trip of a film, and it feels like a graphic novel that's coming out from a screen, and I really like that approach. I was reminded of Edgar Wright's movies, and to see that Western type of filmmaking being applied to Bollywood, I think it's something refreshing. I also have to comment the stylistic flourishes here when it comes to the production design and also the inspired use of colors. They're using a lot of bright colors here, pink, orange, green. It helps boost the frenetic energy that this movie has. Also, the musical score of this movie and the song choices here, they actually help elevate the movie. I can tell that the whole team is having a ball while they're editing this film together and while they're producing, because the amount of effort that it takes, you know, to take one simple scene, shoot it at different angles. I was impressed by the amount of effort that they have done here. Now, as for the acting, Taapsee here, I think she's a great choice of an actress for this role. She brings a lot to the physicality of this role because she does a lot of running and she delivers on it, and her facial reactions, there's desperation, but at the same time you can sense that she's a tough girl. She's competent to do this, but you know, she's going to be thrown to a lot of crazy scenarios and she will do whatever it takes because she loves Satya here. It's not the type of couple that we're gonna get annoyed, because Satya here, even if he does a lot of dumb decisions, Tahir portrays the character in such a likable way. Both Taapsee and Tahir have strong movie presence, and I think that's more than enough for most films to take us along with this ride. And also the supporting characters here along with their subplots. There's this standout duo here, two bumbling brothers, Apu and Papu. They're trying to rob their father's jewelry shop, but they need to first figure out how they're not going to get recognized. And there's also a heartbroken taxi driver, Jacob, who's sad for most of the film because that day his lover Julia is going to be wed off to someone else. So these storylines, they don't seem to be integrated much to the plot, but again, they really have an impact to the overall story here, and especially seeing how this actions and effect, cause and effect, impact the story. I think it's pretty smart for a low-pro film. So overall, I really like the reimagination that they did here. It's not a lazy act of copy and paste and set it into a different setting, and yeah, they really made it into their own with the infusion of culture and, you know, the mythology behind it. And the longer the movie went on, the more I felt like it separated itself from the original, which is a good thing for me because it's important for a movie to stand on its own. The messaging can be a bit on the nose at times, but that's pretty much common on Asian cinema, so I'm gonna give a pass on that. Anyway, the whole ride is entertaining, it's frenetic, and you know, we have a lot of hysterical characters all throughout, so I had a fun time watching this movie. I'm gonna go as high as a 4 out of 5 for this. This is one of the best camera works that I've seen from Bollywood, so I urge you guys to watch this one. But how about you? Have you seen this one? What's the last Bollywood film that you've seen? Let me know. Hit the comment sections down below. Also, if you enjoyed watching this video, give this a like and subscribe to me for weekly reviews of movies and TV shows. Thank you so much guys for sticking around, and till then, I'll see you guys on the next one.